Hello, chess friends. This is Gregory Kaidanov with another video. Today, we're going to talk about chess tactics, pattern recognition, and the process of learning chess tactics. This is a very interesting subject, and we'll go in some general questions and we'll go in some details. So will be lots of interesting things that we will talk about. You probably all heard the expression that chess is 99% tactics. There is probably a lot of exaggeration in that. Strategy is a big part of chess. By the way, let's define what exactly tactics is. To be honest, I don't have very strict definition relative to chess, but my understanding is that strategy is kind of long-term planning, and tactics is something which happens right now. It's a sequence of moves, concrete ideas which are happening in the on the next few moves. Very often, people confuse tactics with combinations. Botvinnik actually was the one who tried to define the combination, and Romanovsky, Russian master and theoretician, also tried to do that. And they were talking about like combination has to have sacrifice in it, and I think that's kind of the definition which usually stick. But the point that tactics is not necessarily sacrifice, though in majority of chess books, when you see tactical exercises, it's kind of combination. So very often those two link together very close to each other. Anyway, right now, there is no comprehensive idea how exactly to study tactics. It is a huge subject, very complex subject. And if you are a beginner or a player of a rating anywhere below 2000, I'm sure you are struggling with that. There are lots of different books with a lot of tactical exercises, and they're good. However, when you play your real games, very rarely the positions in your games reflect what you see in the books. Like, for example, very often the question in the book is white to move and win. And as you know, in your games, this happens maybe once in the game, and sometimes doesn't happen at all. But meanwhile, there are a lot of calculation, a lot of other moments when you need to find best moves. And very often, the opponents pull tactics on you. So the opponents play lines which are, or variations which are similar to what you see in the books. And there are almost no books which will ask you, all right, your opponent is about to play a combination. What would you do? Or if you play this move, it will be a mistake. Why? And then you will have to find combination for the opponent. And that's a much harder thing to do. But anyway, I'm talking about this just for your understanding. I'm not going to fill this gap in these particular videos, though I am hoping to address this question in my future videos. Right now, I just will take one theme, one tactical theme, one combination. And on the example of this theme, of this combination, I will try to show to you how the process of learning works when it comes to tactics or combinations. All right, now it's time to bring the first position on the screen. And those of you who play tournament chess on a regular basis will recognize the pattern right away. There is a combination here. It's called Greek Gift. It's featured in the majority of books, especially for beginners. And like I said, every tournament player usually knows it. So white to move, and white sacrifices his bishop on h7. And after king takes h7, knight g5 check, king goes away, queen comes on h5, threatening checkmate on h7. Of course, black can always give up a queen, which will not save the game. And if black plays rook e8, trying to run away after queen h7 check. White gives a checkmate in 5 moves. Very simple checkmate in 5 moves. Instead of giving this check, you take this pawn first. Check, 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 checkmate. That's all very simple, and I hope that most of you who are watching this video already know this combination and know this pattern. So this is pure pattern recognition. Now, the next part, which is after this bishop h7, king h7, knight g5, there is another move for black, which is king g6. And in majority of situations, this move actually refutes the sacrifice. In this particular one, I don't think so. I think in this game, white proceeded to win anyway. The game continued queen d3 check, black played f5 to block the check, e takes f6, king takes f6, and white won based on the bad position of this knight. This is pretty much what won a game for white. After queen f3 check and queen takes e6, white won the game. So the combination worked. Now I will change situation a little bit. So let's say I'll put the queen on c7 and I will get rid of the pawn on e6 and I will get rid of the knight. And let's say I put the knight here. So now, if white plays the same combination, black wins very easily. By the way, rook e8 is also not such a bad move because queen takes f7 is impossible. But at least after rook e8, white will still have some kind of an attack. Maybe not enough, but still some attack for the piece. However, black has very simple move to win after queen h5. He will play bishop f5, and after that, h7 square is covered, and black wins. So the combination doesn't work. So this is already what I would call a second level. First, you recognize the situation, and you see that bishop takes h7 is possible. Then the second level, you see how black can defend against this. So I showed you one defense. Now I will change position again. And let's say we'll move this bishop from c8 to b7. And now bishop h7, king h7, knight g5, king g8, and now queen h5. No longer black has bishop f5. And it seems that white is winning because rook e8 leads to the same 5-move checkmate. But there is a new resource for black, which is queen to d3. And from d3, queen controls the square. And once again, white attack is not going anywhere. So I guess this is, you can say this is second level, but still, this is a nice addition to the idea of bishop f5, which we saw before. And this can go on and on and on. So finally, when you kind of add all those patterns, you might get overwhelmed and you might already not recognize patterns because there are too many of them. However, strong players know lots of those things. So obviously they know and see lots of those patterns, and they are capable of remembering many of them. All right, so let's close this board and move to the next one. The next game was actually a game between two grandmasters. In this original position, white played bishop to g5. Black took, and white went for sacrifice. So if black king goes to g8, white plays queen h5, and I will give you just a few seconds so that you will recognize the level 2 pattern and see the defensive move for black. At this point, you're supposed to say, aha, I see it. Queen to d3, or maybe even queen to c2, and white doesn't win. But here comes level 3. White plays rook to e4, the queen protection is black, and we're back to the situation in which white actually wins. But if you're capable of recognizing that, then you probably will notice that black does have this move king g6, and a little bit earlier I told you that in the majority of cases this move refutes a combination, though sometimes there are situations when white still wins. Usually white's strongest move is queen to g4, but in this particular position black plays knight takes e5, and after something like queen to h4, for example, black can play maybe f5, and white is not going anywhere. Also, if white plays rook takes e5, hoping after queen takes e5, knight f3 to win the queen, this idea has another problem, because after rook takes e5, instead of taking the rook, black takes this rook, and that's a checkmate. So in the real game, Grandmaster played this check first, hoping that black will take king takes g5, and then queen h7 with idea h4 and queen takes g7 gives white chances, but his opponent played f5, and after queen h4, knight takes e5, we reached the same position we discussed before, and black won the game. Maybe, I'm just kind of speculating, a Grandmaster missed that after e takes f6, black doesn't have to play king takes f6, but can take this knight on g5. And with 2 extra pieces, black is winning. Here I would like to pause and make another, in my opinion, important point. Majority of club players, when they see this position, they will say, no way, this king is so advanced, white must win here. And needless to say that white is not even close to winning. So I would say that the majority of club players overestimate unsafe king. They see only that the king is not safe, but they don't ask the question whether it could be exploited. And in this particular position, white has only one piece in the attack, which is queen, and obviously you can't win a game with just one queen on the board. And plus, 2 extra pieces is a huge advantage. It usually means that while defending against the attack, you always can give some pieces back. So black is winning easily. All right, let's close this board, and we'll move to the next one. Okay, this game is very similar to the previous one. White also played bishop g5, black also took, bishop takes h7, king takes h7, knight takes g5, king g6, and queen g4. When you study certain things, when you study those tactics, and when you know the pattern, it's still important to get into little details and try to understand why it works here and why it didn't work there, because you will see more patterns. Like, for example, in the previous example, queen was on g4, knight was on g5, and king was on g6. So this situation was exactly the same. And as you will recall, white lost. Why? What exactly happened in the previous game? Which move did black play which won a game for him? And the answer is the move which black played was knight takes e5, attacking his queen, and white, by the way, was not able to play queen g3 because black queen was on c3. In this position, black played f5. This is the only way, the only try to force this queen away. And white played queen g3, then f4, queen g4. But at this point, black's resources are limited. The only other move to attack the queen is e5 by discovering the bishop. And now white played knight e6 check, king f7, queen takes g7 check, king takes e5, and white played d takes e5. So this is quite amazing position. White is down 2 pieces. Again, like in one of the examples from the previous game. However, in this particular case, he is winning. And the reason is that, unlike in the previous game when there was only one queen in the attack, here white has both his rooks in the attack. And the game finished, black played bishop c6, white played queen g6 check, king e7, queen g5 check, king e8. He repeated position, and then finally he played this very nice move, rook to d6. This was brilliant move, and in few moves, black lost. Black played rook checks, king d8, queen e6 check, king d8, rook d1 check, and black resigned because after king c7, white wins check here, check here, checkmate. So this is very complex example, very complex example. In a matter of fact, to evaluate those complications which followed the sacrifice on h7 definitely was very difficult. So I would say this is one of those examples which explains the idea of pattern recognition and creativity. So you both can see the combination coming. You both can see first 2-3 moves, but eventually it comes to the question either who can calculate further or who can evaluate the ensuing positions better. And I think in this particular game, it was the player who had white who, I don't think he calculated everything perfectly, but I think he evaluated the position better. He just kind of felt that his attack is dangerous and his attack stronger than black's defensive resources. We came close to the finish of the first part. I will just leave you with one more position. The Greek sacrifice is possible here. Try to calculate as far as you can and figure out whether it works here or not. Once again, this was Grandmaster Gregory Kaidanov. I'm looking forward to make the second part of the video about Greek sacrifice. Goodbye for now.